Welcome to Storytime, family. So let's talk about some of my experiences in nature at that creek, as I mentioned in the last video. I think when started to tell the story and I said I saw a woman um, bent over, I didn't make clear that it was a drawing, a painting of a woman on the side of a structure that was close to the river's edge, just to be clear. But I remember going there and it was just so beautiful and so peaceful. It was springtime, so all of the trees were full of leaves, birds singing. I would see blue jays, I would see cardinals. I even saw a pair of mallard ducks. I kept seeing animals like in pairs, right? And one day I went down there, I had my phone with me, and I was just saying, what is the spiritual meaning of whatever it was I was seeing? And it was absolutely incredible because everything it was saying, it was like telling a story, and it was kind of like speaking to where I was at that moment in time. But I was doing that for almost an hour. And I was just like, wow, oh my gosh, wow, wow, wow. Just absolutely, absolutely incredible. And so I would go there, you know, sometimes daily and then sometimes every other day. But there was so much communication going on. And I would look at the rocks in the river, they just look like regular rocks. But one day I went down there and one of the rocks close to where I was, it's like I noticed that it looked like a tortoise with its head held up. And I'm like, there's no way I would not have noticed this. That stone, we talked about the stones. Let me see. That stone changed form. And I remember I came back and I told an elder about what I had seen. And he said, yes, that's commonplace. That's not unusual. Nothing in nature stays stays fixed. And I had heard stories about that before. As a matter of fact, the story, I was where was it? I think it was my birthday, and some friends had a little gathering at a coffee shop downtown in DC. And one of them brought a friend with one of my friends brought a friend with her. And I remember as we were talking, she was sharing with me that she could look out in her backyard and the stone. She had a nice garden back there. She had stones, rocks, big rocks. And she said there are times that she would look out at those rocks and they literally would change into the form of like a lion. And when she would see that, she would know that there was something going on. She had so many stories like what I'm telling you all. She still went to church, sang in the choir, and she said, I do it because, I need the company. Otherwise, it would be so lonely. But these are the experiences that I have. And she said one day, somebody that she met, a lady that she met, invited her over to, I think it was over to her house or a friend's house. And I don't know if they were gathering for like a meditation or something. It seemed pretty harmless. And she went over, and I think they lived in, I don't remember if I'm thinking it was like an apartment complex or something, because I believe like the lady's back porch overlooked a pool. And she said when she went in there, things seemed, everything seemed okay. And she stepped out onto the back porch and she literally saw, was it squirrels? I think it was squirrels or possum or something. They were in the pool, but they were fighting, and one like literally was trying to drown the other. And then she realized, oh, something is wrong with this. Like animals don't behave like this, and something is wrong with this thing that I'm seeing. I don't think I should be here. Like these people, they appear to be good, but In her spirit, she knew that something was wrong. Animals don't behave like this. There's something going on. And so she told them something, like she had to go. And of course, they were trying to keep her there. And she had several other experiences where she knew, oh, this was like some kind of coven witchcraft type of thing. And they were trying to siphon off her energy. I'm saying this to say because it's just coming to me naturally, but a lot of our people have been deceived and think that our traditions are evil and they are witchcraft. We know exactly what witchcraft is. And it's when you use the power that you have to manipulate someone else against their will without them knowing. That's witchcraft. And do people engage in that? Yes. But that's not ancestral religion or spirituality. That's not our culture. So we had ways, even in our culture, of dealing with so-called witches, or people who were doing evil. They have something that elder I was talking about. I had read something about evil forest where it was interesting because these are forests, evil forest where they knew exactly what to do to contain these beings in a type of suspended animation. Why? Because they understood if they kill them and they go into the not ancestral realm, but they'll be earthbound spirits, they would be manipulating people from that side. And so it said all over Africa, they had these, excuse me, evil forests, and people knew not to go into those forests. So when I asked the elder about it, he said, yes, that's common. That's common knowledge across Africa. I was reading a book where they were talking about that, and they were saying that when the missionaries came and they began to take over the place and begin to demand land and those types of things, the first land that was given to the missionaries for the churches and whatever, for those wayward spirits, they gave them those evil forests. Those were the first lands that they gave them. So the person who the author of that book was saying, you know what, he really thinks that a lot of the evil that went on within the Catholic institutions all over Africa was a lot of times because of the land, the type of land that they gave them. They didn't give them the good land at first. They gave them those, and of course they wouldn't know what evil forest was. They didn't know. It just seemed like a forest to them. But when people went in there, they were so effective. It would take a lot to be able to clean them up, and sometimes they would not be able to, and so those people had to die. Because they would become an infection to the community. But me going down to that river, to that creek, the nature itself, the stones and everything began to speak to me. The ancestors and ancestresses in that place began to show me things. Like, look at the rocks. Do rocks look like this? And as I took a closer look, I began to realize that these things that I was assuming were rocks were manufactured. I began to see bricks. I began to see that where this place that I thought was a natural waterfall was actually a building. So now I had to go look up. I'm like, what is this place? Is this the place where the river naturally flowed? And only to find out, no, it wasn't. It was redirected maybe in the mid 1900s or early 1900s or something. It was redirected. But the ancestors and ancestresses of this land began to show me the different anomalies as I went there. The trees, the roots, the way they were growing was like showing me, like, this is not normal. You walk down here to this creek as if you're walking down steps, but we don't grow like this. The roots don't grow like this. And when I looked closer, I was seeing brick underneath some of the roots. Most of it was covered up, but nature won't be denied. So it will always tell the story. I'll continue with the stories in the next video.